everyone. Welcome back to Silver Hijinks, a podcast all about pop culture and the chaos of the award season. I'm here with I'm here with one of my best friends, Melissa. How are you today, Mel?
Whoop whoop. I'm good. It's quite late, but I'm still awake.
I remember that we watched the Oscars together.
hmm
And how
It
did
was
that go
chaos.
for you?
Well, I would start off by saying that due to time change, it was 4 a.m. and I was casually falling asleep whilst watching, but I think I still managed to catch quite a lot of it. So,
Yeah. I mean, I was bombarding your phone constantly with every single thing that was
yep,
going on. Especially when like Sandra Hüller would just appear on the screen.
Sandra, the best
Sandra Hüller.
the best German actress there ever was.
Well, and Nina Haas. Come on
Well,
now.
but we're fangirls, so
Yeah.
maybe we can't be that
Yeah.
objective.
Yeah. Well, but that's important because with art we can't be objective. We have to be subjective.
Yeah,
Yeah. But really, what was your favorite part of the Oscars?
I mean, I would say maybe it's not that good that that was my favorite part of the whole ceremony because it wasn't even part of the ceremony. It was Billie Eilish's performance with her brother because
Mhm.
I remember being very, very tired and then at 4 a.m., like quite near the end of the Oscars, they
Mhm.
played the Barbie song, and I was just crying in front of my MacBook in a
Mhm.
very dark living room. So that was great. I think I rewatched that performance 20 times until
Mhm.
today.
Mhm.
But I think it was important because um, I felt that the whole tragedy about the Barbie movie, it was just, there was not a lot of attention to it. I mean, there was the performance of, what's his
Ryan
name
Gosling?
again? Yes,
Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
of him. And I feel it was a good thing that they both, like the signature songs of the Barbie movie were present, even though the movie itself wasn't. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I felt it
No,
was
no.
tragic.
Yeah, I agree with you because at the end of the day, like I'm not going to say that I was like the biggest fan of the Barbie movie. It has its little faults, but I loved it.
Yeah,
But
me
it
too.
was
I think it
it
was
was
important.
yeah. I For me it was really weird that it wasn't nominated for like best picture
hmm
and
I thought that
that
was
like
like a safe call. At least
yeah,
one nomination.
exactly. And the thing is, Ryan Gosling wasn't nominated either. It was America Ferrera, right?
hmm I think so.
It
Which was
it was
good because I
yeah.
really loved her performance.
Yeah, me too. But like the thing is, my fear when it came to the awards of the Oscars night was the fact that I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For were both nominated
hmm
for the best song of
hmm
and like that in and of itself, I think that diminished a lot of the value
Yeah.
and importance that the Barbie movie had.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
like there was a huge chance that I'm Just Ken would have won. And I'm not saying that I don't
Mhm,
like the song. I do like the song, but it's a movie about feminism.
mhm.
And
Yeah, I mean, it got a way more attention during the whole movie, like during the time that the movie was in cinemas. It got
mhm.
most of the attention also in like on TikTok, like at I feel like
No.
people were talking or like students were talking about it at school, or at least my sister was, and all she was talking about, and she's a 15-year-old girl, and all she and her friends were talking about was the I'm Just Ken
Mhm.
song and the I'm Just Ken performance and not What Was I Made For, which is I don't know, it felt kind of tragic to me because it I don't know. It drew
No,
away
but
the
like
attention from the actual meaning of the movie itself again,
yeah, yeah,
because it
like
was kind of hijacked by men again.
mhm. Like, for me, I'm not gonna say that I didn't enjoy either or because I did enjoy both,
Mhm.
but when the movie that you're trying to sell or at least cater to an audience has a like underground meaning of femininity and all of that, I think that catering and selling the song that caters more to men and the
Mhm.
patriarchy,
Yeah.
selling it to the point that they sold it, like, with Mark Ronson, and then he made the other music video and everything. I don't think that it's fair to even I don't think it's fair to the foundations of the movie itself.
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous actually. But
Mhm.
well,
But hey, like, I do understand its importance within the movie, but I do think that What Was I Made For should have been highlighted a little bit more rather
I mean,
than I'm just
I
kidding.
think the Barbie movie, and I anticipated that because I felt like the minute the movie came out, I just knew that the movie would have its prime time when it was still in cinemas, because many people, many women, girls, mothers were going to the cinema to watch it together, like as a
Mhm.
community. And I knew that as soon as it would be out of the cinemas, it would kind of lose a lot of recognition and a lot of meaning, because the meaning itself was in the act of going to the movies together.
Mhm.
So I kind of I knew that it was not gonna win anything, but as you said, I thought it would be at least nominated, but well.
Exactly. Like, even taking out, perhaps even by being superficial, let's be superficial. And that we don't let's say that we don't care about the message of the movie, but
Mhm.
it was still like hell, people made up this Barbenheimer thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was this huge movement that propelled both movies to earn a lot of money in the box office, and it was Barbie earned so much money in the box office
Yep.
continuously. And then when you see it, it's not even nominated for Best Picture. When in reality, in like former Oscars, like recent former Oscars, we've had Best Picture winners that weren't even as good as Barbie.
Yeah, it was made into a competition again, and I think those 2 movies were perfect, or like were perfect to compare to one another, because it was
Mhm.
one movie about like femininity and womanhood and girlhood, and the other movie was about one man, and like it was so male dominated, and of course those movies would go very well in comparison to one another,
Mhm.
especially in male dominated society, which is
Yeah.
pretty clear.
And the thing is, it's also the way that both movies were marketed. One movie was marketed for like the whole family to see.
Mhm.
And then the other movie was, this isn't for your children. Like, it's very obvious that one was for a wider audience than another.
Even though the message in itself in Oppenheimer is very urgent and
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
But again, I think it's or both movies are about taking responsibility, and both movies were about men having to take responsibility. So,
Mhm.
of course, maybe I don't know. I just noticed a huge TikTok trend about girls or girlfriends complaining about their partners or their male partners not understanding the message of the movie.
Mhm.
And I feel like many couples actually considered breaking up with their partner because for them, the movie was so important that it was kind of so tragic for them to notice that their male partners didn't understand the message. But at the
Mhm.
same time, it kind of drew the female community closer together because
Yeah.
there was a sense of community and responsibility and I don't know,
Yeah, because it's a movie about
fostering
girlhood.
deeper connections. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. But what can I say? Once again, the Oscars, the Academy will always be the Academy.
Yep.
I've
Sadly. And
never seen an
somehow,
institution fumble a bag as much as they do.
yes, and somehow every year I end up hoping that it's gonna change, but it never does.
Mhm. In
It
fact,
keeps on disappointing.
it sometimes gets worse instead of even getting better.
Yeah, I mean, it was way worse a few years ago than it is now. I think
Mhm.
they really got better, starting off with the people they nominate or they consider nominating.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but I just remember a lot of shit storms. I think it was 2018 or something.
Mhm.
What's the
To
hashtag
those
again?
oh,
The
the Me
Oscars
Too
are
movement?
white.
No,
Yeah.
the Oscars are white. Yeah, that happened, and then this last year, they took out the committee that was in charge of that because they were being, like, racist. They were well, not
Mhm.
like, they were being extremely racist and only giving nominations to those who only benefited their interests and all of that, which is in and of itself, like, the Academy is supposed to award movies that are supposed to win it because of its merit and all of that, not because of your interests being entangled in something else.
Mhm.
So, you know, but it just has to do so much with, like, American culture in and of itself. But that's a conversation for a whole other day.
Mhm.
But what do you think about the movies that won and those that lost? Because I know that you had some heavy opinions that night.
Well, starting off, I was happy that Zone of Interest won
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
because I think I'm very biased that way because I'm from Germany, and of course, the whole history itself is very tragic, and it's always about taking responsibility for your country's past and all of that, and it goes in hand with a lot of like with cultural education. And so for me, it was very important that those movies that actually depict what happened and all of that factors that were involved in the plot of what that movie was about. Um, yeah, that those kind of movies are more
Earn the spotlight, yeah.
present right now, especially right now of all times.
Yeah. And I was really happy. You know that I was really happy when Zone of
Yeah.
Interest won because not only like there's this whole conversation when it comes to foreign movies that it's just, oh, it's subtitled or oh, it's subbed. Oh, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not here
Hmm.
to read a movie. And honestly, I think that that's extremely irresponsible of the person who's saying that
Yeah, and it's
because
also lazy
yeah, because through
to
your
start off.
ignorance, it allows you to become a worse person culturally, you
You
know?
always, I think you just always think that you're not affected
Mm-hmm.
and not involved, and that doesn't apply to you or to your identity when in case every single one of us is responsible for what is happening.
The very same ignorance that someone shows through like not wanting to watch these movies just harms a great amount of like the community that surrounds that person.
Yeah, I mean, who? who are you to say that you're not involved in history, or that you're a non-political person, or some systems do not apply to you? That's just
It's extremely
ignorance.
privileged.
Also, yes.
It's very privileged because it's always like, oh no, look, we have movies, we make them, and it's in our language. And then it's like, oh, watch a French movie. No, it's in French. Oh, watch an Italian movie. Oh, why should I do that? And that even happens with like, you tell someone, oh, watch a classic movie. And all of a sudden, this person's like, why should I watch a black and white movie?
Mhm.
Even though it was nominated, it's known as a classic and everything. It's just this whole thing of my ideas are better than yours, even if your ideas are not founded on anything.
Yep.
And it's just really fucking sad, to be honest, to see it that way. Because here people are trying to make movies more accessible to a wider audience. Like yesterday, I watched a French movie. You saw it on my Instagram story. I was watching La
Mhm.
Daronne with Isabelle
Mhm.
Huppert. And I put on the subtitles and I don't feel any type of problem with that. I enjoy watching movies that are of a foreign place because it allows me to see how the society in that place works.
Yeah, and it's also it's deeper. Like it's more bare, because you actually see the emotions of the actors kind of
Mhm.
mixed with their voices, and like with their ways of acting. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of meaning and a lot of emotions and or emotional depth is lost in translations.
Mhm.
I saw very few movies where um, the German translations and stuff were actually good, and actually I don't know, like that they didn't take away a lot of what the
Yeah,
movie is about.
yeah, like when we watched Mädchen in Uniform a couple of weeks ago. We watched it in German, subtitled.
A- and you didn't understand everything, I think. I mean, there was still,
Mhm.
even though you learn German, there are still words that are maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
kind of a
That you
dialect
have.
thing or something.
But then at the same time, when looking at the actors and the mise en scène and everything on the scene, you do kind of get context clues through that.
Of course, you still know what's up if you pay attention,
Exactly.
and if you're
And
actually interested.
mhm.
It
Mhm.
has
Mhm.
to do a lot of with I think with internal motivation to
Mhm.
immerse yourself inside of realities that are not your own.
Mhm. It has to do a lot with being an empathetic person, I think. Like
Of
you,
course,
you always.
if you're self-absorbed, it's not going to work.
Yeah. You have to quite literally walk on this earth with the possibility of putting yourself in another person's shoe. And that's not only like a societal in like in a societal way, or with a friend, but also watch a movie from another place. Watch a movie from your home country and just try to watch movies that challenge your notions and your values and everything, so you could try to understand another person.
I think the main condition is that you want to grow
Mhm.
as a person and as an
Mhm.
individual,
And I
and
think that, like,
grow individually and grow as part of the society that you're in.
yes. Like in 2018, Isabelle Huppert was nominated for Elle,
Mhm.
which is a very, very, very strong movie for American audiences and all of that. And I would even go on to say like European audiences too, but over there it was welcomed in another way, not with as much taboo as it was welcomed here. Like, yes, it's a movie about a woman who is continuously raped, But it's not only the rape. Like Isabel herself, she's said it's an extremely nuanced movie where you even have to question why she's allowing herself to be put in that position immediately,
Mhm.
you know? Like many times. And like that's the other thing with movies. Like she was nominated, they gave it to Emma Stone, I think, which I don't agree with because an American movie at the end of the day will always be the very same old, same old, same old.
Yeah.
And then over there in Europe, you've got the French camp movies that also deliver like extreme French masterpieces, and then
Mhm.
Italian movies, and then German movies, and every single one is something different, but they're just not recognized here or whatever because of all the taboos that there are here.
Yeah,
And
they're more explicit. I mean, that's what many
Mhm.
people say about French films and about British films, that they're more explicit, that they are more I don't know, in some ways stronger than American movies
Yeah.
or even German movies.
Yeah, because I think that the very same taboos are the ones that stop it all from like being received well in another country, which I that's why I think that like
Mhm.
categories such as like best foreign film in the
Yeah.
Oscars, it's outstanding. Like in like different award shows, I think that that category is so important to the show itself and to the film industry and film history itself
Mhm.
because it allows audiences like even if you had never heard of those movies and you're watching the Oscars that night, like for example Zone of Interest, maybe
Mhm.
someone hadn't heard about Zone of Interest and
Yeah, I
then
don't know how many people that were attending the Oscars actually watched the movie.
oh I don't think so. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that people who were there, I think that people that voted for it with other motives,
Mhm.
which have to do with the current stuff that's going on right now, the genocide and all that.
Yeah.
And I think it had to do more with like I think they interpreted it more as like a Zionist thing rather
Mhm.
than what the movie actually was trying to say. And they attached politics to it, and then people were just like, "Oh yeah, no, let's vote for it." And then their whole thing went to hell when the director said his speech,
Yep.
and then the
I
whole
remember
outrage
parts of
that
that.
appeared with that. Like it's a movie where it quite literally talks about the history of what happened through the eyes of the privileged
Mhm.
individuals, which is
Mhm.
not exactly a point of view that we have that's very common, you know?
Yep.
Like that point of view is more available in books, and we know that a lot of people in this day and age don't grab a book and read it, which sucks, but it's the truth. And then through movies, it allows people to interact with history of that intensity and see it with their own eyes and maybe put themselves there and see the destruction in a greater lens. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and also what I noticed about, or by listening to people talk about the movie itself, was that they were criticizing the way um it was made, because it wasn't that explicit. Like, there weren't
Mhm.
many explicit scenes. It was all very mostly silent, and you were kind of waiting for something to happen, and also
Mhm.
like the the sounds and like the music, it was all very silent and very peaceful, and people were watching it and waiting for like the things that we know happened there to happen, and they just didn't happen because you just, as the person watching the movie, you kind of knew what was going on, but you didn't see it. And
Because
many
we're
people were criticizing that.
yeah, the same way that it happened with Oppenheimer, that people were like, "Oh, why didn't you show what happened with the bomb?" You can't show
Mhm.
that. It diminishes the whole point of the movie.
Exactly.
And I think that was the same case with Zone of Interest because people were like, "Oh, it's a Holocaust movie." Yes, it's a Holocaust movie, but it's a Holocaust movie through the lens of the people who perpetrated the Holocaust.
Yeah, and of course they didn't see that.
Of course, like that's why she literally tells her children, "Oh, smell the flowers." Like
Mhm.
to be haunted watching a movie doesn't have to mean that someone pulls out a gun and shoots someone, you
Yep.
know? Like that scene where she quite literally tells her children, "Oh, smell the flowers," and she teaches them to smell the flowers to cover the smell of the burning of human flesh.
Yep.
That's
And to be
terrifying.
honest, I don't really think that many people understood what it was really about.
No, I don't think so either.
And
Like media
that's the
literacy
worst
is down
part.
the drain. Like you know that. Media literacy is almost non-existent. And
And I mean with movies or like causes that are so important that are so urgent, I kind of don't really care how they get attention because it's more important that they get attention
mhm,
and
mhm,
that they are being noticed.
mhm,
That in itself is a huge win, in my opinion, to start
mhm.
off with. I mean, it's not that's not something that can last long, but it's a good start.
Yeah, because it
And
also shows
that was the same thing
responsibility.
with the Barbie movie.
Mhm.
Because
Like
I know that many people were hating on it and many people were criticizing it, but there was a discourse. There was
yeah.
communication about that topic. People were questioning their own choices, their own beliefs, their emotions, their standing in society, in patriarchy, and that didn't I feel like that didn't happen in that intensity for a long time
Mhm.
before that movie came out.
And the thing is, just I understand that it was in ways a very superficial way of introducing feminism to people. But at the same time, you
Mhm.
do have to consider that it's a movie that's also targeted and catered to children. So you cannot just throw a very very nuanced definition of femininity when a stepping stone is good enough.
Yeah, sure. And I don't at the same time, I don't really feel like it was really aimed at children. But maybe that's because the most people that or like mostly adults were watching it and were talking
Mm.
about it and were, I don't know,
But
honoring
I
it.
yeah, I just think that even if people thought that it was superficial. It doesn't it still gave, like how you said, people the possibility and the power to talk about their own experiences and to gain power itself from the movie.
Yes, and that's why I'm still angry that it didn't the movie didn't get the recognition it deserves by honoring it with an award. But I think that the fact that people were discussing it and that there was a lot of attention to it was enough for now.
Mhm. I think that with the years it's going to get it's going to become a more important part of society, to be honest.
Mhm.
Because you know
Yeah, I
how
think so
everything is
too.
going in this day and age, I think that it it was definitely a stepping stone, or at least I think it's going to get the recognition through the creation of other movies after itself, you know?
Yes.
So
I
I
mean, I think women are gonna show that to their children one day,
mhm.
like
Mhm.
in 10, 20 years' time. I'm
Mhm.
very sure of that.
Like
And
I
that's a
genuinely
win.
think yeah, I genuinely think that, you know, we should let people create the work that they want to create, but I think that when it empowers people, we should quite literally have the discourse is, not even if it's a debate on how effective the power of the movie was, because
Mhm.
it encourages conversation and it encourages the possibility to grow.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the Barbie movie was your favorite one of the years when you're telling me?
Maybe. I would
I
kind of
know.
say yes. But on the other hand, I don't watch that many movies. So out of
Yeah.
the ones I've watched, I would say, I mean, I'm a rewatch person.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, I
don't
know
really
that.
watch a lot of new stuff,
Yeah.
but that was great.
Well, I think that's gonna be all for today's episode. So, did you have fun, Mel?
Of course.
So,
Always with you.
thank you. So, for everyone you listening, drop your suggestions down below for the next episode, and I can't wait to have you back. Bye bye, everyone.